about 10 to 12 years. I wasn't born in the United States. I was born in Vietnam, but I was raised in Los Angeles, California. First off, I'd like to thank our co-sponsors, Everytown.org, Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America, the Peace and Justice Center of Eastern Maine, Partners for Peace, the Maine Gun Safety Coalition, Pax Christi Maine, the Health Equity Alliance, Power in Community Alliance, Congregation Beth El, and the Unitarian Universalist Society of Bangor, the Maine Common Good Coalition. Last but not least, I'd like to thank the Hammond Street Congregational Church, United Church of Christ, for allowing us the use of this beautiful space. Any views or opinions expressed are solely those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent Hammond Street Congregational Church. Okay, so a few housekeeping rules. All signs and banners must be left outside the church, and please, on your way out, take them with you. No sitting on the window sills or floors. There are plenty of seats on this side of the church. If anybody want to come? Yeah, but there are more seats also for the people who are raising their hands. Bathrooms are 2 floors down, where we entered, and go down another flight of stairs. A basket is being passed around to collect donations to defray the cost of this event. Who has a basket? I do.
Services this morning. Yes, I do spend money on that. There's a whole
I would like to ask all the speakers to sit in the first pew. And there are 3 emergency exits. The 2 that you came in through and the one to my right. Support for the March of Our Lives goes beyond our co-sponsors. It is worldwide. There are sibling marches all over the world. Park, Patagonia, Chile, Hanoi, Vietnam, to name a few, Oslo, Norway, and Hong Kong, China. There's also a march going on in Nagoya, Japan. I learned a tragic story about Nagoya. In 1992, Yoshihiro from Nagoya, at the time age 16, was an exchange student in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He was heading to a Halloween party, and he visited the wrong house, and he was gunned down. His parents gathered signatures in Japan and America to help pass the Brady handgun law. Yoshihiro's parents should be an inspiration to us all. If they can pass a law halfway around the world, what can we do right here, right now? Thank you. So up next, I would like to introduce you to Josie Ellis. She's a coordinator of the Bangor Brewer Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America.
Hi. Welcome to the Bangor area March for Is that better? So I don't know how to make it taller and very tall. Okay, there we go. Is that better? Thank you, Susan. Okay, now is that better? I have to like talk right into it? Okay. See if I can read the angle. Hi, yeah. Welcome to the 2018 Bangor Area March for Our Lives. I'd like to begin by thanking our students from Bangor, Brewer, John Baptist, Hamden, and any other students who are here today for leading the way and making sure that the rest of us follow. neighbors, friends, and families for being here today to stand beside and march with our children. Today we march with our kids for safer schools and safer communities. On average, every year in the United States, 17,000 children become victims of gunshot. And more than 2,700 of those children die from their injuries. On average, every year in the United States, over 116,000 Americans sustain gunshot injuries, and 35,000 Americans are going to die from those injuries every year in America. Today we march to honor the children who have been shot to death in their schools, the children who have been shot to death in their homes and in their communities. And we march on behalf of the children who are injured by gun violence every single day. Today we march to extend our compassion and our love to all of the children who have been traumatized by school shootings and other gun violence that has claimed the lives of their friends and their family members. Today we march to support our children who are seeking to change a system that would allow 17,000 children to be shot every year in America. Today we march to tell our children we are here for you, we will stand with you, and we will not accept the threat of gun violence to the safety of our kids. Today we march, and tomorrow we will continue to fight. We will fight by taking the time each week, because it only takes a few minutes to keep up with current gun legislative issues and get involved. We will fight by joining groups like Moms Demand Action, Everytown.org, and the Maine Gun Safety Coalition. Groups that make it easy to sign a petition because every signature counts, make a phone call because every voice counts, or send a postcard or a letter to our representatives because they actually pay attention to those. Because to stop this immoral and unacceptable threat of gun violence against our children, we have to take action. And I want to assure every student here today that we will take action. We will not let you down. We will not leave here today and feel we did our part just by showing up for the march. Instead, we will continue to do the necessary work to demand gun laws. And here's what we're going to do. We will support an assault weapons ban. Concealed carry reciprocity. We will support red flag laws. We will demand stronger background checks and closing dangerous loopholes that allow criminals to access guns. We will support increased access to mental health care. And we will hold our legislators accountable to support gun sense legislation and to approve the needed funding for mental health services. And if they do not support these changes, we will vote them out. Who believe they can continue taking NRA and gun industry lobby money with impunity and supporting laws that lead to the deaths of our children, we say midterm elections are coming up in just a few months. Expect us. And to our kids, we will stand with you and we will stay with you until we see this through. We will fight for your safety because you are our children. You are our world. I'm Mom. I'm Grandma. You mean everything to us. In the words of Emma Gonzalez, Parkland High School shooting survivor, maybe some adults have gotten used to saying it is what it is. But if we students have learned anything, it's that if you don't study, you'll fail. And in this case, if you actively do nothing, people will continually end up dead. So it's time to start doing something. Thank you.
Okay, so we're now passing on 3 clipboards. Who has them? Oh, good. Keep them going. The first one is a sign-up sheet for the Bangor Area Chamber of Moms Demand Action. It is free to join. There are no rules. There are no dues. And we meet every other month at 6 p.m. at the Bangor Public Library. Our next meeting is Tuesday, April 24th. You don't have to be a mom to sign up. You don't even have to be female. All are welcome. There's nothing handsomer than a man that wears this shirt. The second clipboard is an opportunity to sign a postcard, which will be hand-delivered to Senator Collins in April, asking her to oppose concealed carry reciprocity. The third is a petition being circulated by students from Orono, asking our representatives to support a ban on assault weapons and on high-capacity magazines, as well as closing dangerous loopholes in the background check system. The kids plan to hand-deliver the signatures to the offices of Senators King and Collins. Okay, so we have... So we've got a great lineup of speakers for you. First of all, it's Bridget Saunders. She's the class of 2019 from Brewer High School. Welcome, Bridget. Is that good? No. Oh.
All right, there? Okay. Good morning. My name is Bridget Saunders, and I'm a junior at Brewer High School. Today, we gather for a myriad of reasons. Some are here to mourn the victims of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. Some are here to bring awareness to mental health. Some are here advocating for gun reform. And some are here to fight for teens' place in politics. And that's quite a beautiful thing, I think, to be different groups standing up for what they believe in, united as one group, fighting for safety in schools. Personally, I think that school shootings are not an issue that can be blamed solely on guns or on mental health. I think it's both. I would never suggest that every person with mental illness is dangerous. So many of us have depression and anxiety and PTSD and OCD. There are so many common disorders that it would be cruel to say that, but it's true that the perpetrators of recent school shootings have shown warning signs and were clearly dangerous to our society. I don't think an intervention would have stopped them. I don't think that if someone had seen the warning signs and tried to reach out, it would have helped. So often, mental health is blamed for school shootings because it's easy to look at someone who does bad things and label them as insane, or say things like, they were clearly not in their right mind. But nothing is ever really done to solve the issue of dangerously mentally ill people owning guns. In fact, just last year, our president repealed an Obama-era regulation that allowed background checks for people with certain mental illnesses. The biggest solution that the adults have come up with for this issue is telling us that we need to be nicer to other kids. And we do need to be nicer to other kids, but again, it wouldn't have solved the problem entirely. What people don't often realize is that gun control can be a solution for the mental health issue. After all, people who argue gun problem over mental health problem don't think that guns themselves are the issue. It's the people shooting the guns and how ridiculously easily they can obtain them. If we were to instate background checks and mandatory safety classes for people who wish to own guns, it would be harder for these dangerous individuals and everyone to buy guns in the first place. I wouldn't suggest getting rid of guns completely. I don't think they're necessary, but in this time and in this place, it would be unrealistic to suggest such a thing. I'm not sure why Americans love guns so much. I've shot a gun as a part of a class at summer camp, but I could have done without it. Regardless of why, gun lovers make up a large portion of our country and would never allow us to take away their precious firearms. There are, however, guns I'm sure they can manage without. AR-15s and other such assault rifles are designed to kill people quickly and in large numbers. Something like this should never be in the hands of civilians. It is completely unnecessary to be selling assault rifles, and I don't think it should be continuing happening. As a student, it feels very odd for me to be here sharing my views on gun control. This isn't something I should have to do. I'm 17 years old. This is not my job. I shouldn't have to. have to have these opinions. I should not have to worry about this. I shouldn't be afraid to go to a public high school. But until government officials and all of the other grown-ups in our lives stand up, this is what we all have to do. Thank you.